Hey guys, let's talk NAR settlement. Let's really break this down and let's get into what's fact and what's myth when it comes to this. There's a lot of stuff that's been out in the media, a lot of stuff that's been on the news. So I want to give you guys first two links below. These are both from the National Association of Realtors for home buyers and for home sellers, and what's actually changing and what's actually staying the same. And if you guys have more questions about this, call PJ Kennedy or anyone at our team at Kennedy Homes in the Carolinas. We'll be happy to go through this with you. Myth one, no, I don't have to pay a buyer's agent. Listen, you never had to pay a buyer's agent. Commission has always been 100% negotiable. Whether you as a seller decide that you want to pay your agent 3%, 10%, 2%, it doesn't make a difference. However, there has never been a standard that you had to pay a buyer's agent. A lot of people are coming out right now saying, hey, we're gonna list your home for 3% or whatever it may be. Guess what? They always did that already. Yet, could it harm you when not paying a buyer's agent? Well, that's a conversation that you have to have with you and whoever else you're selling the property with. Yet when it comes down to it, there has never been a standard, and you have never had to pay commission or a percentage of commission to one side or both sides. Myth number two, buyer agency agreement. What does that really mean? Right now, everybody's saying you have to have a signed buyer agency agreement before you can show a property. Well, that was always the case. The fact of the matter is, if you don't have a signed buyer agency agreement, you're not allowed to give anybody more information such as your professional advice. As a real estate agent, we can share the material facts, number of bedrooms, number of bathrooms, number of square footage. Yet we couldn't say, yes, this price is high, this price is low, if you don't have a signed buyer agency agreement. Moving forward, it is going to be mandatory, which it pretty much always was, that you have to have a signed buyer agency agreement in place before you can show any client a property. Myth number three, unrepresented buyers. Let's talk about that real quick. A lot of agents are out there right now selling, hey, I'll come and list your house, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, and what we'll do is I'll represent the people, or I'll talk to the buyers and I'll have them sign something that is unrepresented. Well, number one, for you as a seller, you don't want an unrepresented buyer. God forbid, what happens if something goes wrong? What happens if they bring in a not licensed home inspector and they tear something up in the property and then they decide they don't want it? Unrepresented buyer doesn't answer to a real estate commission, so you have no recourse. So when you're selling your property, you want to make sure that that buyer is properly represented by a licensed real estate expert. Now, buyers, you may say, well, what's the advantage that I have? If you sign anything that says I'm an unrepresented buyer and you're getting advice from the listing agent, well, that's like going to defend yourself in court and asking the prosecutor to give you advice on what deals you should take or not take. Unrepresented buyer is probably one of the most dangerous things in our industry right now. So if you're hearing anybody say this stuff and they're trying to throw out these flashy low percentages, all they're doing is they're just trying to attract you with low numbers and even lower service. Now listen, to all those agents out there that disagree with me on this, if you feel you're only worth 3%, I'm not gonna argue with you, okay? Yet my dad always told me that you get what you pay for. Guys, thank you so much for spending time with me today talking about the NAR settlement. Again, this is PJ Kennedy with Kennedy Homes of the Carolinas, 11 plus years in the business, selling and buying in North and South Carolina real estate. When it really boils down to everything, please click those links below. See what the National Association of Realtors is saying to home buyers and to home sellers. Follow me for more myth busting around NAR and what other agents out there are saying in the industry. Until then, have a good one.